Welcome to the Core Memories Podcast, the ultimate nostalgia trip for kids of the 80s and 90s. Join us as we take a heartfelt and humorous journey through the sights, sounds, and stories that defined our childhoods. From Saturday morning cartoons and blockbuster movies to iconic music and the simple joys of growing up in a pre-digital world. We'll deep dive into the pop culture and personal memories that made these decades unforgettable. Whether you're reminiscing about your favorite action figures, reliving epic playground debates, or remembering the thrill of recording songs off the radio, Core Memories is your go-to podcast for all things retro. So let's start reliving the magic together, because those were the days, and the memories are forever. Now, here's this week's episode. The 1980s. A decade of neon colors, mixtapes, and Friday nights at the roller rink. It was a time before smartphones and social media, when a folded-up note passed in class could make your heart race, and the sight of your crush at the arcade felt like destiny. Young love in the 80s was something magical, wasn't it? It was innocent, awkward, and beautifully simple. A glance across the cafeteria, a slow dance in the school gym, or waiting by the landline hoping they'd call. Back then, love was written in spiral-bound notebooks and spelled out in mixtape track lists. Today, we're diving deep into those memories. First crushes, awkward confessions, and the unforgettable butterflies of growing up in the era of big hair and even bigger feelings. So, pop in your favorite cassette, grab a can of new Coke, and get ready to travel back to a time where love was as radical as a Walkman on full volume. Welcome to Core Memories, where today we're all teenagers in the 80s again. Let's go ahead and hit play on nostalgia. First up, we've got Joe, a self-proclaimed 80s kid who remembers every detail about crushing hard back when sending a note was the boldest move you could make. Welcome to the show, Joe. And also with us today, we've got Tank, whose love for 80s pop culture runs as deep as his knowledge of 80s love songs. He's got stories that'll take you right back to the school dance. Thanks for joining us, Tank. Better way to celebrate the month of love than going back in time and talking about our early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s. I don't know. You guys tell me what you're going to talk about, but our crushes. And before we start, I just want to say one thing, okay? Because we live in this day and age where we're not glorifying or objectifying women. This is from the eyes of us young people and how we thought of these beautiful human beings when we were kids, okay? And the reason I say that is you can't today you couldn't put I guess you could, a top 10 list of the hottest ladies without some blowback, right? And so the idea of this episode is really to talk about our early crushes, whether that be real life, and hopefully there's stories to be told in our own personal lives, if you guys feel comfortable with that. I have a couple real embarrassing ones, but also, how do I say this gently? Knowing that we liked or loved ladies, right? Nobody say anything. Yeah, leave me hanging out to dry, boys. That's fine. So we're going to get into some of our 80s crushes, tell a couple of stories, and have some fun with it. And probably our most uncomfortable episode so far. This is great. I love it. We're taking chances here. We're going on the edge a little bit here. So reintroducing my co-hosts, my other children of the 80s. Hello, Joe, and hello, Tank. Welcome back to Core Memories. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Yes, greetings.
Yes. He says good morning. You say greetings. I'll say good night. So we're covering all the bases. So, Tank, I got to give you some love on this. When we were trying to think of what we were going to do this month, you came up with this. So, before we get into anything, were you inspired by someone that gave you the idea to do this, or was it just one of those, it just popped in, let's do it, and we'll figure it out on the fly?
I figured we needed some kind of subject matter for February. See, now you got me doing it.
Yes.
February. So I thought, there's nothing more pure and nostalgic than our crushes.
Pure and new, yes. And Joe, you got some stories to tell, I hope, right? Some stories that you may or may not want your significant other to hear, or how's that work?
I mean, I'm gonna try to lean a little more to the famous crushes than the infamous crushes, I guess.
Fair.
I mean, I did kind of bring up one the other day about being thrown in the closet, but that was another but maybe we'll get to that. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So let's do this. It doesn't have to be a rule, but if you decide to tell a story, a real life story, feel free to change the name to protect the innocent or the who it's about. Okay.
I wouldn't say the name at all, but yeah.
I'm not going to change any names because I'm authentic, but a lot of mine are Canada.
He's authentic. We're not. So that's
no. What I'm saying is, yes, I'm authentic. I'm saying is that, like, I don't know if this podcast will be transmitted to Canada at all. I don't know if it links up, and I'm just kidding. And nobody, I've been gone so darn long that no one's going to go, hey, is that guy talking about me? So we'll have some fun with that. Anyway. All right. So let's get into it. I want to start with pop culture, but I want to start with, again, I'm going to try to feed this line the right way. Do either of you gentlemen have a particular North Star that might have been the first time you went, I'm going to just say it this way, what's going on here? Like, and I will lead off, and we can go back and forth. Not a draft per se, but we can just kind of go through them and talk about it. I'm going to go chalk, as everybody says, but really it's my first core memory of going, something is different today, and I'm looking at that person in a different way. And again, you guys may be on the same wavelength here, but it is, we're going to start with Carrie Fisher in Return of the Jedi, okay? Yep. And we all know, I don't have to get into it, Friends covered it, it's been parodied forever, but we were that 7 to 8 year old range. I know, at least for me, I didn't know what liking girls were. I just said, oh, girls and guys, okay, whatever. And when I saw Jedi and that scene or scenes happened, I went, I'll just throw it out there again. What's going on here? Why is this
a tightness in your Oshkosh bagoshes?
Yeah, why is the? And by the way, I know we joke about it now and everything, but not once did I question her garb, why she was dressed like that. I was just like, this is not the same character that I saw in those last two films.
Right.
And this is, tell me more. So, you know what I mean? Tank's got his look on his face like, where are we going with this? But it was I think it was the first time that I started to view women in a different light than just taking up space on a movie screen or a television screen. So
first day that you carried a roll of quarters in your pocket.
Listen, Joe, I knew you were going to say something like that. I cannot speak to that as a core memory, but I can speak to. I will say that I will say that it did make collecting the trading cards a lot different, because there were some set shots, and and those were the ones that you, again, at my age, I was like, I'll give you 4 Jabba the Hutts for one of those, when it kind of like those shady deals. I'll give you a quarter as well.
You got them Carrie Fishers, man?
Yeah. You got any of those Slave Leia ones? And by the way, Slave Leia, we did not know what that was in 1983.
No.
It was not called that in 1983.
No. Yeah.
It was What Is Going On Here, Leia, in 1983.
Yeah.
So Tank, was that one of the ones that kind of woke you up to society, or no?
100%.
Okay.
I had a hatred of Mr. Paul Simon at that point.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
At 7 years old, because I knew they were married. So it was like,
oh my God. Dude, you are tied into pop culture society.
Finger on the pulse.
I didn't learn that until like maybe 5-10 years ago that they were a thing.
Really?
And that was like an SNL special that kind of gave me insight to that. I was like, for reals? So, wow. So the disrespect to Paul Simon. Okay.
Interesting.
Right. Joe?
As far as that went, that was a curveball in the old life of not looking at women that way, I guess, until you saw her in I don't know. Is it a bikini? I guess it's a bikini, right? Yeah.
Gold,
so
gold lame. No.
So it's like that.
Oh, look at this guy pulling out the cards. Guy's pulling out cards. He's got the trading cards.
That was in his wallet, Corey.
Some people have it in the old
case of emergency.
Tank.
That is his wallet, Tank. That is his wallet. Yes. Joe, you were more offended by Art Garfunkel than Paul Simon. Yeah.
So I just want to just add something real quick to that. I had no idea until just now. I had no idea they were an item until just now.
Okay, look at Tank bringing the facts, man.
It never even realized it. Never even. Wow, that's
new segment. Tank's fun facts.
Thanks. There you go. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that may or may not have been the first, but again, one of the North Stars into opening our eyes to, ladies, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so Joe, I'm going to start with you.
I chalk it up to and that thing you do. Steve Zahn says, "You were my first guy-girl thing."
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
that's awesome.
I mean, I could add to the parts where like I'm going to bring up my broken family again, but being at my dad's on weekends, and we'd be sitting on the couch, and there was no rules for me, and he would be watching like HBO, and they'd be like
Hitchhiker.
Not even Hitchhiker, like movies like My Private Tutor would come on and be like, all right, cover your eyes. And I'd be like, what is happening here? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's weird. But anyways,
yeah.
But like, I didn't really even think about it because I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But when you see Leia like that, it's like, geez.
That's what
geez Louise, even to this day, it's like, geez Louise. But like, yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So and I'll close my thoughts on the Leia thing. I remember how I felt, but I also remembered, and this could have been rewatching it years later, maybe in my teens, going, what? It doesn't fit in the scene. Like it felt like it was forced, and then that I would go through this emotion of like, I like it, it doesn't fit, and then when she, spoiler alert, chokes out Jabba, it's sort of you made me submissive like this and dressed like this, I'm killing you. And so It was kind of like she was put down, so to speak, at the the beginning of the movie, and then she has her revenge in it. But yeah,
she was there for his entertainment.
Yeah, and that's
like,
not
did he have like a closet of just gold?
Well, didn't they have
over the years?
But didn't they have the other dancer that
the Twilight?
Yeah, the Twilight, right?
She went down to the Rancor.
She went down, right? So
is that the same? Do you think that's the same bikini? They were just.
Oh, I hope not.
Wash that off.
I hope not. Maybe he got like a 10-pack or something on Amazon.
You think the Rancor monster was able to pick the meat and bones out of like it's a turtle shell?
But what if the Rancor
like
ate her whole and then burped out the
or shat it out?
Oh, that could be too. Wow.
The Rancor keeper's job is
Could've been
to
like
just to give it a good old
Oh my God.
smack against the rocks to clean that sucker off. I don't know.
It's the rocks. Oh my
well,
goodness.
they used to wash clothes back in the day. They do it in the future apparently too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Okay.
Anyways.
Wow. All right. Whew. Okay. All right. I'm shaking that thought clean, and I'm going to turn to you guys. So we're in a safe space, but I want us to all go through some of the 80s pop culture crushes that we had. And if you have a story to tell about it or a thought, or just keep it clean, please. Okay. Don't be like, well, then there was the page 42 of the J.C. Penney's ad. We're not asking for that type of conversation, but more that, and I'll give you my thought process here. When if they were going to be on a particular television show, or I knew that movie was coming up on HBO at 4:00, I'm like, I'm tuning in. Movie's good, but so-and-so is going to be in it. And even if they were just a part of it, and you're like, oh, I get to see them on screen or you listen to a particular band that you loved, and they were in the band or something like that. So I'm going to start with you. Throw one out our way.
Let's go with Miss Kevin Kline, Phoebe Cates.
Okay.
Well,
Ridgemont High.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I was probably way too young to come across that movie, but I don't know how I did. It must have been just early cable, and I somehow was up. Slide in the box.
Careful.
Careful.
Slide in the box.
Yeah, is that a new one? Okay, yeah.
Slide in the box. Yeah, just that scene is legendary, and yeah, I was definitely way too young to come across that, and then I was just hooked, just trying to see whatever movie she's in, and then she shows up in Gremlins, and
Yeah,
the rest is history, kind of thing.
So fun fact about that for me is
you just found out about it today.
Well, no, but on a theme here, I saw Gremlins, and although I did not put her on the list today to talk about, I was like, she is beautiful. And it wasn't until years later that people were like, have you seen Fast Times? And I'm like, no, I've never seen it. So it wasn't until I was well into high school or maybe even college that I saw that film. So like you got to see that right out of the gate and had this thought process with her. I was like, oh, she's the cute one from Gremlins. And they're like, yeah, Corey, you got to go check this one out. And now, again, not to be obscene about it, but I saw it in a different light. So yeah. Joe, comments, your own pick?
I like that scene. I actually like the movie too. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think it's a great movie. But so there's like a whole mishmash of beautiful women in the 80s, but like the one that sticks out is after Jedi was Weird Science for me. And when they made The Most Perfect Woman, Kelly LeBrock came out as the most perfect woman, and that was like the best thing in the world. I could go back and watch her just doing that whole entry or exit, I guess, out. The doorway, and it's just like. Now at that time, what was that? That was 85, right?
85, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that's so good. Good 9 years old at that time. So that's It was getting tighter and tighter at that point, so it's like,
oh, good Lord,
you're underoos.
Yeah,
bustaroos.
But yeah, so that was one of the core memories for me as when I saw her on the screen. It was just like, and I'm pretty sure I saw that in the theaters with my dad, so I can't imagine what was running through his mind. So
same thing.
But again, he had me on the couch watching My Private Tutor in the 80s, so that's even weirder. Yeah. But anyways. So,
Weird Science was like a staple on First Choice / Super Channel. I didn't see it in the theater, but that was like almost on every other day. And I had that written down as well.
Oh, nice. So, still a great movie too. But
hilarious. Some things do not hold up.
No.
But rest in peace, Bill Paxton. But fantastic movie.
Jet pile of shit.
I'm gonna throw one out there that I don't know. Maybe I'm on my own here with this, but Footloose and The Man with One Red Shoe produced Lori Singer. And I didn't watch either of those movies a ton, but my core memory for that was I'd seen Footloose a bunch. I'm like, oh, she's great. And then again, in cable rotation, Tom Hanks, the Man with One Red Shoe, she popped up, and I'm like, she's awesome. And then one day I realized it was the same person. Again, they looked exactly the same, but we didn't have IMDb back then.
You didn't think it was Daryl Hannah?
See, there you go. There was one that could have made the list, but she was sort of like the Timu version of Daryl Hannah, because she didn't do too much after that. But Lori Singer.
Yeah.
Tank. Oh, sorry, Joe.
I'm gonna go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Linda Carter, Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Okay.
Spinning around.
You can't go wrong with Linda Carter.
I definitely have a type. That brunette. And if you know my significant others, you know that is true. So.
Okay. And
that's a great one.
She stood for good things too,
Justice,
and you're right. That spin, and the change, and oh boy.
Did they do that Did they do it in slow motion?
Yes.
Or was it no? Oh, okay.
Or did Joe? Did you see it in slow motion in your brain?
Did I slow it down? I love this part of the show.
Lasso me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, Joe, you're up.
I'm gonna go from Hollywood to music, and I'm gonna say she walks like an Egyptian.
Oh no!
She's still gorgeous.
You thief.
Yeah. Susanna Hoffs.
100%.
Good one.
Yeah. She is
100%.
Yeah, she is a
all-nighter.
Just watching those, even the music videos back then, were like, oh my God, I want to put that on repeat, and just watch it. That's all. Anyways, so that's a yeah.
Okay, I think I'm up here. It's folks listening at home. It's not a draft. We're not going to look at each other's teams. It's just people that are in our lives. Okay.
Hold on one
the
second.
The Chapman delegates.
Yeah.
Do you know who she's married to?
Yes.
Okay. I was completely
Jay
shocked
Roach,
by it.
right?
Yeah, Jay Roach, right. Yeah, I was completely shocked by it.
And like Tank, I'm sure Tank knew this in 1986, but the reason I learned about that was either the first or second Austin Powers, and Tank, fill me in because I know I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong. Most likely wrong. She is listed in the credits for like some sort of music supervision or something, blah blah. And then she's in Ming T. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so random. And then I went to the internets back then, and I went, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Cities.
So, yeah. So.
It's a weird combination, but I'm happy for them. They've been together for a very long time, 30 years or something like that. So that's amazing.
God bless.
That's awesome.
Yeah, God bless for sure. Okay. One of my favorite movies of all time, and this is a movie that I love, that I quote every day, and her presence in the movie, although really is just a cherry on top, always, every time I watch it, I was like, I'm here for this, but because she's in it, it's so amazing. It is Lucy Deakins in The Great Outdoors, Cammy. And and lot to unpack here, by the way, right? First of all, I mean, I named my daughter Lucy. Is there something there? Is there a psychologist online? That's weird, I know, but I'm more Beatles. But I just remember seeing her and going, she's going to be a big star. And she was in The Boy Who Could Fly, and then she did something, I think, like called Cheetah or something. But she kind of got out of the business. And I may or may not have looked her up. She's a lawyer now. Anyway, thank you, LinkedIn. But she, for me, was amazing, and God bless Lucy Deakins.
Yeah, that's a great pull. That
Tank.
She's from my all-time favorite movie. It's The Karate Kid, and you got yourself some Elizabeth Shue.
No, there you go.
Some Shue, not Andrew Shue.
No.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
maybe.
Elizabeth Shue. Adventures of Babysitting. Just the girl next door. Just perfect.
Yes.
The Saint.
Yes, the Saint.
So I don't know about you guys.
Hollow Man. Yeah.
When you were putting your list together, leaving Las Vegas, when you put your list together, I'm going to ask you something. Did you look for any of these ladies and see how things are going today, or did you just say tunnel vision? Just I'm remembering how they were in the 80s, and I'll explain why after I get a yes or no from you.
Well, she's still pretty prominent.
So she is, but you may have others on the list that may have not seen in a bit, right?
Yeah, like
no.
Okay.
no, okay.
I guess Phoebe Cates doesn't really pop up much in anything anymore. So, but
so then,
Linda
Tank,
Carter,
your list, as you're going to show them, are folks that have stayed relevant in pop culture.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
so, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So the reason I ask, and maybe Joe can kind of speak to this, is that if you go tunnel vision on those memories, and I'm not going to use anybody, I'm not going to say anybody on the list or anything like that. I don't want to call anybody out. And then you go, it's been a while. Let me see what's cooking today. It can take away from, like us. Like
right.
we were cute kids, 25, 30 years ago. Now we're rough old men, right? And so if somebody hasn't seen you in 25 years, they have a memory of it, and they look at you and go, "Woo, you got some wrinkles, Core." And you're like, "No,
You're
you
like
remember
the
me
sun."
from 1992. So for me, a bunch of folks that I've looked up, I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. And that's not fair to them, but you know what I mean? So that's why I was just curious about that,
Well,
if that came up.
If anything, it's the age, where it just like blows my mind. And even with like male celebrities, you're like, wait, that person is 78? Like,
yeah.
After I just watched a movie from like 85, I'm like, well, hold on, like the woman in Christmas Vacation, the sales clerk.
Yes.
She's in her 70s now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, holy crap, what is happening?
Yeah. Well, the reason I say that is because, and the reason I brought it up right here is because Elizabeth Shue is ageless, so she has defied the aging process, and that's why, like, if I had, and I did have her written down here, like I can see her in The Boys, like just a couple years ago, and go, that is the same person in Karate Kid. Versus we've seen a few over the years where like, oh, I would have passed by this person on the street and have had no idea it was so and so. So anyway, just curious about that. So yes, Elizabeth Shue, fantastic pick.
Yeah, ageless, and she's 61 right now, and she's.
All right, Joe, you're up.
So I'm going to step out of the 80s and go early 90s.
Okay.
I like it.
All right. So it's still that teeter-totter there.
Jennifer Aniston on Friends. Okay.
No. Remember I was going to give you a little bit of a hint. Remember the coin-op horses in the like Kmart outside?
Oh, yep.
You put the coin in and
career opportunities.
Yes.
There we go. Jennifer Connelly.
Connelly.
And she's still dynamite.
Yes. She goes into that category of looking better as she has gotten older. Yeah, for
Maverick,
sure.
Top Gun. Can't do it.
Okay. All right. Oh, I got to mark that one off. Somebody already said that person. Okay. This is an example of somebody for me that was just absolutely beautiful / cute in my brain. She has gone on to have greater success at an older age that I pretend doesn't exist. But I definitely had all the feels anytime Mannequin came on for
Oh.
Kim Cattrall. And I know, Joe, you were a big Trouble in Little China guy, right? So there's that too. But like for me, seeing her then, it was so weird when she got cast in Sex and the City because I tried watching it and she was a certain type of character. I'm like, nah, I'm going back to Mannequin. And she was just something for me in Mannequin. Oh, and sorry,
Porky's.
Police Academy 1 too, right? Police Academy.
Yeah.
So she had that run right there in the 80s. So
she was in Porky's too, right?
Yeah, she was.
She was Lassie, right?
Yep.
Look at you guys. You're going straight to dirt.
What's the name of that website with the
Yeah.
Mr.
All right,
Skin.
Tank.
Yeah.
Tank, you're up.
I like how Joe pulled a 90s person.
Property?
So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna drop some Jennifer Love Hewitt on you.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was on
Yeah.
Party of Five, not a show I watched, but the girlfriend at the time did. So it was like, oh. But then you see that she was in like Kids Incorporated and Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. You're just like, oh, who's this?
Okay.
Stop the presses. You know.
Yes. Oh, that's a good pull. Good pick.
And you also own all her CDs, I bet.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured
100%.
that. Yeah.
On vinyl and cassette.
And
Single.
Laserdisc.
And cassette.
Joe.
I will say early 90s and I think she's still kind of flawless now, but Jenny Garth from 90210.
Yes.
Kelly Taylor.
Yes.
That was,
There you go.
she was, it's so funny because that was like the 90s. That was like my phase. Like that part is where I was just like heavily into like blondes. Everybody was a blonde. I wanted to date all the blondes and be with a blonde. And I never ended up with a blonde. So, but anyways, that's another story. But like,
All
yeah.
right. Okay.
She made, whew,
I'll dip into the 90s as well. It's two films that she was in. And let me pause right here. I do not endorse her politics today. Roseanne Barr. No, not Roseanne Barr. Excuse me, not Roseanne Barr. It was Mo Money, Stacey Dash.
oh, good call. Yeah.
God, love Stacey Dash. And by the way, if we talk about that continuity and beauty, still beautiful today. But
Beauty and beauty, he says.
that's right.
About that.
So we got her on the list. All right.
That's his new album.
With
Tank,
John
you're
B.
up.
This one is unfortunately an RIP.
Oh.
But she was just super prevalent in the 80s. And that is, she was in Space Camp and Mischief. And it is Kelly
Twins?
Preston.
Twins.
Twins, yeah.
That's
Oh.
Oh, that's sad.
Joe, you're
All
up. No, I'm
right,
just kidding.
And well, that's the end of this podcast. We'll talk to you later.
All donations to,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She died of breast cancer?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that sucks. Okay. Yeah. That's
A
terrible.
little bit
Now
of
you just
Scientology in there.
she had a side of Scientology in there.
Jeez. All right, Joe, you got one for us?
I think so. I'm going to go hone in on my soap operas with my mom, All My Children.
Okay.
She played Kendall Hart, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh,
There you
nice.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So when I saw her,
Whatever happened to her?
Oh, nothing. I was looking up the date when she was on, and I was very happy to see that I guess she was of age and I was of age. Like it would have been weird if she was too young, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
but like it was 93 and she was born in,
I think we're around
70
the same age, right?
yeah, we are 77. So, but my mind back then, I mean, I was 17, whatever. So it
Yeah.
kind of like, I was like, is she like 12 in this, 13? I don't even know how she
Right.
is. So thankfully it all lined up. I don't feel dirty now.
Good for you. Good for you for having those
like,
feelings.
It's cool.
Like,
yeah.
We appreciate
Forever
that.
uncleaned. But yeah, anyways, yeah. So
good pick. I'm going to grab one that I think may come up with one of you guys, and I just want to be the one to say it because I'm being greedy. I think it was because when I saw her on Saturday mornings, most of her interaction or acting, at least what I got to see, was more in facial expressions and not a lot of actually hearing her speak, and being someone in a world of sweaty men was a beauty, and it was Miss Elizabeth in the WWF.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And it was, again, you guys might have better access to interviews and stuff like that with her. It would almost just be like a silent movie when she would come out, or she would be ringside, and I'd be like, she's so beautiful, and I couldn't tell you what her voice sounds like, that kind of thing. But another R.I.P. I guess for chalking those up. But Miss Elizabeth, Miss Elizabeth. So, all right, Tank, what do you got?
Now this is my last one. I got once again going with the theme of brunettes, but it's Neve Campbell, also a Party of Five. No.
You guys have had like a horror movie run right here in a row, you two.
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. I don't even like horror movies.
You like her because she's Canadian, eh?
Me?
Yeah.
I like horror movies. I don't like horror movies.
Joseph. The stag.
All right. Joe.
So I could go two here, but I'm gonna just do one. And she was the throwback, but go back to the mid '80s.
Throw your back.
Leah Thompson.
Oh, yeah, I had her on the list there. Thank you. Yep.
Between Back to the Future and
All the Right
Howard
Moves.
the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Thank you. That's the one I was trying to think of. I couldn't. That's exactly it. When she's in bed with a duck.
A duck.
So,
yeah. 80s were wild, man.
A duck.
But in my mind, if she's in bed with a duck, she'll go to bed with me.
There's a chance 10-year-old Joe. Yeah, of course.
But it never happened, so that's that. No. Anyways, yes. So beautiful woman still. I think she's still hot, but yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Joe, Tank's list is done. I have a few. We can call them honorable mentions. Do you have a few left as well, or no?
I have at least two more.
Okay. So I'll run through the rest of the ones I jotted down. Joe, you do yours, and then we'll move on. Okay. We'll call this all the honorable mention area. Cary Green in The Goonies. I mean.
Oh, Andy.
Come on.
Andy, you Goonie. Yeah, that's right. Good call. Yeah.
Maybe this is just in this particular film, but as much as I love the movie and Michael J. Fox, Helen Slater in The Secret of My Success.
Oh my God, good call. Okay. I just watched The Legend of Billie Jean, and
there you go. Supergirl, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to say it's a weird one, but I just remember very strongly being in school and everybody talking about Doogie's girlfriend on Doogie Howser, Lisa Dean Ryan. Remember this?
Wanda, right? Yeah,
Wanda, yes.
Yeah, Wanda, yeah.
She was beautiful. And then the last few that I have were, and I still, Mia Sara from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah, legend. Time Cop.
Yep. Sherilyn Fenn from just one of the guys mostly, but she's done other things.
Yeah.
And then, I was a big fan. I still am. Debbie Gibson. And Debbie was making music and having hits at 17. And
we're making music, yeah.
We were. We're not that much
fiddle.
Younger than she is, but yeah. So that's
skin fiddle.
Okay. Get your head out of the gutter. right, Joe, what
What
else
are you
Van
doing?
Veer over here.
What's that?
What are you doing in there, Corey? Just playing instruments, Mom.
It's Electric Youth, man.
I have again. I had like kind of I guess a type at the time. Sharon Stone,
Okay.
Joseph.
Rebecca De Mornay. There was Michelle Pfeiffer and Heather Locklear, who I was in love with whenever I watched T.J. Hooker. Lark Voorhees was, I thought she was gorgeous in Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Tiffany Amber,
Tiffany, yeah.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen was another one. And there was a show. It was funny because I was like trying to do research. Oh, Christy Brinkley too. There was a show that I used to watch a long time ago. It was called The Torkelsons. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Heard of it.
And,
I remember
watched it.
And they had a daughter on there, and I had to look her up because I just remember again. Core memory of watching it and being like, oh, this girl's really cute in 90. I guess it was 91 is when it came out. It was 91 to 93. So I looked her up and I was like, oh, I didn't even know her name, but her name's Olivia Burnett. She played the daughter, Steve Martin's daughter in Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, yes.
Which I never put together until I looked her up. So anyway, so yes. Yep. So that's my whole rundown of that.
I got an honorable mention based on the Torkelsons thing because I just thought of a TV show, but Stacey Keenan from My Two Dads and Step by Step.
Yes.
Oh yes. I mean, we sit here and talk, and we could go. I could think about 1,000 other ones that I just like pop into my head. The girl from
Life Goes On. What was her name?
Kelly Martin.
Yes.
Kelly Martin.
That's another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Tank. That's
a bunch of the daughters and just the 10 of us.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Anyways, yes. It was good to be
our
young
age
and
back then.
Yeah, our age. It's just so good to be that way. It's just,
But you know what? And I wasn't checking off the boxes between TV, movies, and music, but it seemed to be very heavily movie influenced by all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, myself as well. I mean, for the most part, these were all actresses that did feature films. So I don't know. Again, we should use some of the budget to hire a psychologist to find out why we picked the ones that we did, but we don't have it in the budget. So
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. No way.
Let me ask you, it's sort of off script here, but we grew up in the age of the teen beat type magazines, and I know they were more geared for a female audience, but were those magazines that either of you picked up and went, well, I mean, Michael J. Fox might be on the cover, but I could see some images or some stories on girls that I was interested in, or did you just kind of stay away from those altogether?
I don't think I'd ever.
Those came with kind of bad connotations back then. If
you were like, I heard Skippy from Family Ties is on the cover of this one. I'd like a copy of that.
Tear that page out. And
so
put it on the wall.
He's doing an expose on.
We're out of Scotch tape, Ma.
There's an expose on Skippy.
Okay, so I want to ask. Now we have looked at and we've talked about the pop culture ladies that influenced our life and our growing up and our feelings and all that kind of stuff. What were your thoughts on the opposite sex? And I'm not getting into anything, but who were the ones on the cover of those magazines? Who were the ones that were having girls at malls, doing those tours screaming, the Kirk Camerons and stuff like that? Were there any that because I always judged it. I would look at a star and go, oh yeah, biggest star on a biggest show, of course. But then there would be a couple that I'd be like, oh, we're rooting for that guy. And it was always, I always kind of judged through that. So like Kirk, like I use Kirk Cameron as an example, right? Kirk Cameron was a huge star. again, let's not fast forward to today and everything that's going on there. But were there any that you were like, well, that's kind of weird, or yeah, that makes sense? Because sometimes you can see like the studios and the networks trying to prop up the next Teen Beat centerfold or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, anything jump out there? Like I'd say on the positive side, Luke Perry, 100%, right? Like, he was the early 90s heartthrob, the sideburns and all that, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like if they did Ian Ziering. You know what I mean? No offense to Steve, but he just kind of didn't have that, and there wasn't much of a push for him. So my question was, Willie, yeah, okay,
right? That was Rick Schroeder,
right?
Yeah,
okay.
that Rick Schroeder. But
I mean, if anything,
funny.
I think with us, we would just try to emulate them in our lives. I mean, especially with Luke Perry growing the sideburns and
floppy hair.
Yeah, the Clooney, the Caesar cut. I think.
Oh, I had it.
Yeah, we all did. But.
I had it.
I don't even know if I might have. I don't know. Maybe that's the Caesar cut. That's the best. Yeah.
It was hopping at the time. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, and no disrespect to this actor, and this is a deep cut. But Tank, a few minutes ago, you mentioned, and this is not where I'm going, you mentioned Life Goes On, right? It's not, stop. Get your minds out of the gutter. Do you remember
Porky
like
Martin's
dude, what's
crush,
his name? Yeah.
Tyler?
Yeah, what was his name?
His real name is Tommy Pewitt. Okay.
Wow.
And so here's what I'm going to say about this. And I can openly judge. Handsome dude. Okay. He was a minor character on the show, and he had probably the best mullet of 1990. Because remember when mullets are like cool now, but I remember, like, we've joked over the years that, like, in real time I could tell that certain things shouldn't be liked, like Zubaz pants, right? Like anybody wearing those in the late 80s, early 90s, are like, you think that's cool, but it's not. And I felt that vibe in 89 to like 91 when straight white males had a real mullet, like, business front, party in the back. And so I had a tough time computing in my brain that there were girls my age that liked him and with that haircut. So again, just trying to figure out if there was anybody that stood out and you're like, Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Again, I know he was popular. Did you see it? Did you not see it with anybody else? So that's what I'm going with. Life Goes On, not anybody else from that show. Tommy Pewitt. Okay. All right. I tried. I was trying to figure some things out there. Working through a couple of things.
Ask your wife and your wives that same question.
Corey was very mad that Chris Burke got put on a pedestal on Life Goes On.
Chris Burke. Can I just tell you that, on a show, let me say something. On a show with Patty Lupone and
love you, Patty.
And Kelly Martin, he really cared. I hate to say this, no disrespect to the actors. He really carried that show. He was really good in it.
Love that show.
It lasted 4 seasons.
Bill Smitrovich or whatever's the dad's name.
Yeah.
I will say when it was on, it was on. I definitely watched it.
It was like Sunday nights, wasn't it? Sunday nights?
Yeah, I think it was
on
Sunday
ABC?
nights.
Yeah.
And
there's no Chris Burke disrespect in this house.
No, not at all.
God bless. And I will say, it's back in rotation, the show in my brain, because there's a couple of clips that show up on TikTok all the time.
Well, the song is embedded
Fight
in
the Power.
The theme song. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The talent show. Yeah. But yes, the theme song. Yeah, yes.
Wait.
Yes, of course.
So Chad Lowe was in the show, right? Didn't he have HIV
AIDS.
though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Full blown
I thought
AIDS.
Oh, it's all rushing back.
It's all coming back.
Joe, he had full blown AIDS. He didn't have HIV.
Folks, when we see the streaming numbers, of Life Goes On going up in the next few weeks, because of the Core Memories podcast.
It's a very special blossom here.
Okay.
Great show.
All right.
Anyway.
I'm not going first, but I will tell one. I do want to hear, and again, you can change the names to protect the innocent, including your own if you'd like. But do you have any childhood stories, personal stories of crushes, good, bad, or in between, somewhere in between? It got quiet. Do I have to go first?
I don't really think I have anything that would be exciting to tell. Very boring. Unless I was in my room by myself, otherwise my life was boring.
Okay, then I'll start.
No, I got one.
You got one. Okay. Well, I was gonna do a really embarrassing one, but go ahead, Tank.
Mine might be. I mean, I was an old romantic. Just from seeing so many movies as a young kid, I thought I just would do all these like conniving kind of stories. But I would, like, there was this one girl in high school, her name was Selena, and I don't know how I got her locker combination.
Oh my God.
But I did. Joe's face was like, and I bought flowers for her and I put them in her locker with like a note. And, where are you going, Joe? Come back. Joe, come back. And
then I set up a little camera inside.
And I wrote like a weird, like, my friend really, like, it was from me, but I wrote it as if a friend was like letting her know that it was. Don't ask me. I mean, she thought the gesture was really nice, and we actually became friends out of it. But that was the thing.
Okay.
I did.
You need to shoot your shot, man. That's what you did.
That's true.
That's fantastic.
Then, I mean, my confidence levels were really low in high school, so for me to do that was probably huge on a personal level.
100%. Good for you.
Okay. Yeah, and that was great. And more people should be hopeless romantics. Picture it. Sicily, Scarborough, 1980 something. Leaving 6th grade and then going into 7th, I started talking to this beautiful redhead, and I'm going to use her real name, named Donna. She had long flowing red hair. I never liked, outside of, Carrie Green, girls with red hair. It was different. I thought it was awesome. We started talking, and then summer hit. And even though we all lived in, a decent area around this school, I just didn't see her all summer. But I didn't shoot my shot at that point. Come back in September, and she's cut her hair to like a bob length. And boy, did I really like that. I was like, oh, she was pretty before. She is smoking now. So I got the courage to ask her out. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if it's the same these days. In the 60s and 70s, I think you'd say, going steady. When I grew up, it was, will you go out with me? That was the whole thing. You go out with me, and you go, yes, your boyfriend and girlfriend.
Did you do the paper note?
Yeah.
Folded paper note.
It was like, and again, I don't know how long this love affair lasted, but I did ask her out really early in the school year, and she said yes. And now I have a girlfriend. Her name is Donna, and she's beautiful and everything like that. And God, there's no way we made it to Christmas. But so probably within a month or two, one of her close friends who did not like me said, "You guys aren't going to make it." I said, I was like, "What? Whoa, is she telling you something?" And she's like, "No, I don't like you, and Donna could do better." And I'm like,
"Wow."
Well, wait. I go, "Well, I'm good to Donna." And I walk her to class, and we hang out at recess and all these things. She goes, "Don't worry, you're not going to be with Donna very long." And I'm like, "What? Like, she going to set me up? Am I going to do? She going to kiss me in front of her or something? Like, oh my God,
put
what could
drugs
happen?"
in your locker? Yeah.
So ready for this?
Oh no.
I come back to school like on a Monday, right? Like a weekend happens on Monday. There's whispers about me, and I'm just another kid. I'm not super popular. I'm not like, who the hell is that guy? I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, there's a rumor going around about you. And I go, what? Like, you pick your nose and you eat it. And I'm like, what? What? Now, by the way, first thought is, shit, yeah, I do pick my nose. I'm not eating it, though.
Under the desk. Under the desk.
This K through age Catholic school, by lunchtime on that Monday, the whole school thought that I picked my nose and ate it. Okay. God's honest truth, I picked my nose. God's honest truth, I didn't eat it. And so, like, the first chance I got, I didn't see her at the first morning recess, and then our lunch hour went 12 to 1.
No pick.
And 12 to 12:20 you had lunch, and then 12:20 to 1 you were outside. I saw her, and she's like, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. I go, what? She's like, you pick your nose and you eat it. And I'm like, I swear to God, I don't. I mean, I don't know how I can prove it to you. Of course, her friend was in the background, kind of those arms. Like, I told you, mother effer. I knew this
villain.
And that was it. We were done. Yeah. And I had to carry that stigma of booger eater for like the next year and a half. And I'm like,
people called you that? Like,
they didn't call it, but there were still whispers. And at one point I was just like, I might as well. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that.
You want me to
digging and just eating and fast food. So I was C-blocked by a friend, and they made that the worst thing up about me, that I eat boogers. So it's not fun.
You shouldn't use C-block in describing a children's romance.
Well, again, I really like Donna a lot, but then you think about it later, you go, she didn't even like ask me if it was true, and she just like, we're done. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's what 6th grade is all about anyway. You don't really, I don't need the drama even if it's not true. You're like, for real? I'm like the fastest kid in 6th grade, and that's a cool thing, but you think I eat my boogers. Maybe that's why I'm fast.
That's probably why you are fast, because you eat your boogers.
They're super boogers.
Yeah.
But also
it made me fast.
You never overanalyze in 6th grade, I guess, but it's tough enough, and people spreading rumors makes it even worse. It's got to take a hit to the old self-esteem, the ego, everything.
Rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. And it was rough if I'm telling the story like 37 years later or whatever it is. It still
stings.
I still have the class photos all the way growing up from like kindergarten to 8th grade, because it's those classic 3-level ones where I'm short, I sit on the bottom. And when I see that one in 6th grade of Donna there, and I'm like, you think I eat my buggers, and I don't.
Have you looked her up to
I cannot remember most of those Canadians' last names, so I don't remember her last name.
So just type in.
I'm just gonna type Donna from Canada.
the other girl's picture is circled in blood, like.
Yeah.
I will say there are some markings on some of the photographs. Yeah, for sure. So, Joe, come on, this is your time, man. You have anything for us?
I don't have anything. I'm sorry.
Joe. Come on, Joe.
I don't. I wish I did. I don't.
Okay.
There's nothing exciting or funny nothing that comes not booger eating, that's for sure.
That's a capper. That truly is a capper, yeah.
Breaking and entering into someone's locker, but like, yeah. I'm pretty.
Tank, see what happens when we open up. Joe starts making fun of us.
He's writing it down.
I know.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to hold it against you one day.
He's calling the FBI.
No, I don't really. The first time I made out with a girl was in the woods behind her house. I was dating two girls in fourth grade. Fourth grade, mind you, that's when I peaked.
Whoa! You're burying the lead here. Tell that story. I don't
Well,
have anything. Let me tell you about the time I was a playboy in 1983. Yeah.
And it's
robes.
It's funny because it's fourth grade, so it doesn't really, like
Yeah.
I was in Churchville at the time, and it was literally the year before we left, and I was boyfriend, girlfriend, same school and everything, both of them.
Yeah.
They knew, like, they wanted to both be my girlfriend at the time. Both of them. I was with one girl, her name was Carissa, and then you probably know the other girl if I told you the last name, but I'm not going to say it. Tracy was her name. She was at Churchville High School with everybody. But anyways, they both wanted to be my girlfriend. So I said, okay, who am I to say no? And that's how it went for basically the whole year until I found out that I was moving after the summer. So I never saw them again, technically. And the last thing that the girl Carissa gave me was, you remember those little charms? People had like the bracelets and like they had like little things hanging off or whatever. So she gave me one, but it was a wrench and it had a bell on it and it said, I love you. And I had that for the longest time. I obviously don't have it now, but like it was one of those things in Churchville. I mean, and when I moved to Massachusetts, was like, I'm gonna win her back when I go back this summer. And then like I got back in the summer and I'm like, I don't even know where the hell to look for this person. You know what I mean? Because my dad lived in a whole other part of Rochester. But anyways, that was like it was heartbreaking though, because leaving without saying goodbye and fourth grade into fifth grade, again, self-esteem type of thing. But like that was probably my one story that I remember the most. And then where my dad used to live, in Greece, in Greenleaf Meadows or whatever, there was a side that had these big bushes, and me and this other girl used to go there and hang out, and then we'd play, and then she always used to want to kiss. I was like, okay. I was maybe 7, 8.
Oh my.
So like, so it was like, but how was I doing? I was like kissing a rock. You know what I mean? It was
all right.
But yeah, so
I have one more. And
okay.
If you guys will allow me, and you guys have known me forever. I think we're coming up on like 35 years. I never needed to own a baseball bat to bat women away from me. Right? I'm a struggle bug to get ladies in love. So when I preface that because of the story that I'm about to tell, it was just so out of character for me in my growing up. Booger eater aside, right? I moved to the States Thanksgiving weekend in 1989.
Wow.
I go from one Catholic school in Toronto, St. Florence, to a Catholic school in Rochester, St. Helens. Mm-hmm. And when I get there, again, remember, I think I just told them the last story. I'm not popular in Toronto. I have friends and everything in school, but I'm also not like the lowest on the totem pole, somewhere in the middle. But again, I wasn't pushing girls away from the line of dating Corey. At that time, when I moved, we literally moved Thanksgiving weekend, so I missed no school whatsoever. My parents put us in a car the day before American Thanksgiving. I started school on the following Monday.
Oh, wow.
And when I got to St. Helens, and I won't even name the names at this point because who the heck knows, they may be listening. What I discovered within a week's time, that all these girls in my class wanted to date me. And again, this is not to put down my own self-esteem, but I was like, the hell is wrong with American women? Because I wasn't a looker. I didn't have the Tommy Pruitt mullet. I was, and by the way, let me add that I wore, like, I thought I was being stylish. I wore like turtlenecks with cardigan sweaters. Okay. And so so as I'm older now, I think you know what it was? It was like this is like an import. Like we don't know this guy's culture. Maybe he's a little cute, but we can say we dated a Canadian. I don't even know what it was. But I literally, it was almost like a dating show. I had to like choose between three girls, and happy to say that I don't know if it was the most shallow thing, but I didn't know these people. I didn't grow up with them. And I went out with this one girl, and it was like the prize was won. And, and, we dated for a few months, and I didn't remember how it ended. Like I just remember the night it ended we did a rockathon, which was sit in a rocking chair for 24 hours to raise money for charity. And it was in the gym of the school, and they had the TVs rolled in, and we were watching movies, and there was music and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember we went our separate ways that night. Not two rocking chairs going away, and I couldn't remember why, like all these years later, right? And this is why I'm definitely keeping names out of it. So when Facebook became a thing, that wasn't just for college students, I just started looking up people from Toronto, people I grew up with, just to see how they were and what they were doing. And I connected with this old girlfriend, and just how are you? What's new? Blah, blah, blah. And we had a good conversation over, Messenger or whatever. And she goes, I was really hurt by what happened at the Rockathon. And I went, what happened at the Rockathon? Like, I mean, I honestly must have blocked it out. And she said a girl's name, and I went, I haven't heard that name since that night. And it was, I think, a girl in a different class. And listen, you guys know me. I ain't going and kissing anybody. She kissed me at the Rockathon. And again, I shouldn't blame, but as soon as this old flame said that, I felt terrible. Again, we're 25 years later after this, and I apologize profusely, and we're friends or friendly now or whatever. But I was like, oh my God, what a slut was I? I mean, was I? Or what, did I have this Canadian ego that I never had growing up because no one ever liked me? And I was like hot stuff for a couple of months in the US, which quickly faded, by the way, as soon as I got to high school. So, it was a nice making amends with this lovely woman, and she's cool now with me and everything like that. But I was like, oh my God, is that what happened? She's like, yeah, you kissed so-and-so, and that was it. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate myself for that. So I am full of embarrassing stories.
Oh, man.
I can't believe you guys are friends with me. I thank you for that.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. I'm a booger eating, double crossing, rocking in the chair, a-hole. Womanizer. Yes, that too. That too.
Only thing missing is the booze.
Of course, coming up on 30 years together with my wife. So who knows?
You eat each other's boogers.
Yeah.
You.
God, Tank.
That's love, Corey.
Just gonna blow some snot rockets all over you now.
Don't they? Didn't they do a scientific report that said eating your boogers actually makes you healthy?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, two things. Number one, how do you start that testing? How do you go, I need some volunteers. Can you just eat your
Somebody
boogers?
got called a booger eater, and they're
oh
sixth
my
grade,
God, I've been missing out on these years.
I'll show you. It's good for you.
There was a recent Harvard study discovered that eating your boogers is actually good for you and boosts your white blood cell count.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't want to get into this, Joe, but I'm going to ask this question. So boogers are hard mucus that come out of the nose, and then apparently you put it in your mouth and you swallow it. What about when somebody has a cold and you do the right, like Chet in Weird Science, but instead of shooting it out,
Swallow
You
it.
swallow it.
Hmm.
Is that the same? I want to know on the next podcast.
First off, Corey, this is not my study. Okay, I'm not. at
Joe,
Harvard.
you have your assignment for our next episode.
Okay, all right, I will. That's fine. I got a month.
Hi,
I got a month.
Harvard.
Check the minutes.
Yeah, I need the booger eating department, please. That project you're working on. Okay, yeah, perfect.
How would you even describe that? Like, suck back mucus? I don't know. Like,
Well, because think about it. I know we're deconstructing it here, but a booger coming out of the nose going back in the mouth is just a different way of it going back down the pipe. So, okay.
It's not a booger unless it comes out of the body.
Oh, okay. Scientist Tansky on the scene here with his clipboard.
It's just phlegm when it's in, and then it becomes a booger when it hits it.
So air hits it and it crystallizes and
yeah.
So to answer your question, the phlegm itself isn't toxic or harmful to swallow. Once swallowed, it's digested and absorbed. It isn't it isn't recycled intact. Your body makes more in the nose, lungs, and sinuses. It doesn't prolong your illness or lead to infection or complications in any other parts of your body. So the answer to that question is enjoy.
Table for one, please.
Any final thoughts on your 80s crushes?
I wish I could go back in time one more time just to
if we knew
relive those moments again.
Then if we know now kind of thing.
Yeah. I would love to relive those, but yeah.
When breaking up with your third grade girlfriend, don't spit in her hair.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great
there you
advice.
go. Take that one.
That is great advice.
That is bodacious.
Wow.
That is wow. I can't even look at you anymore.
I guess if we're going back and telling our younger selves things, one, be that booger eater if in fact you weren't, because maybe I would be. Hey, maybe I'd have a PhD today if I would eat my boogers.
You would have cured me
at Harvard. Yeah, you could be at Harvard, brother.
And two, shoot your shot, but don't go kissing other girls when you got a girlfriend. Come on, man.
Unless they're okay with it, like with Joe.
Unless you got two at the same time.
Oh, geez, Joe. Why did I set myself up for that one?
On that note.
Okay, well, this has been another fantastic episode of the Core Memories podcast. We'll see you next time. And just like that, we've reached the end of our journey back to the 1980s, a time when love was handwritten, courage meant making that nerve-wracking phone call, and a simple smile could make your entire week. Young love in the 80s wasn't just about the butterflies. It was about the innocence of firsts. First glances, first dances, and first heartbreaks. It was messy, beautiful, and unforgettable. Maybe that's why those memories still make us smile, even decades later. As we wrap up today's episode, take a moment to remember that first crush. The mixtapes you made, the notes you passed, and the songs that played in the background of those unforgettable moments. It's funny how even now, hearing just a few chords of the right song can take you right back to that gymnasium dance floor. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic trip down memory lane. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share your own 80s love stories with us on X. Who knows? Your memory might just inspire our next episode. Until next time, keep those memories close, and remember, love, like a perfect mixtape, never goes out of style. Thanks for listening to the Core Memories podcast. We'll catch you next time.